Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Package Tourist, hosted by yours truly, the Package Tourist and the magical mystery tour called Life, Matthew DiBiase. Tonight's guest is a dear friend, author Sharon K. Connell. Sharon was born in Wisconsin, but lived most of her life in Chicago and Florida, where she worked in clerical positions in the medical field and in advertising. She is now retired and resides in Houston, Texas. Although she defines her genre of writing as Christian Romance Suspense and Mystery, she has also published a cookbook and multi-genre collection of short stories. Sharon has also devoted her life to her Christian faith and has spent most of her life studying the Bible while graduating from the Pensacola Bible Institute in 1995. Tonight we'll be discussing her last release, Back to Denali, which was published last summer, and Christmas Full of Memories, which was released last Christmas. Sharon, welcome back to the show. It's always great to have you on. And I'd like to start off by saying, Sharon, would you please tell our listeners about your last book, Back to Denali?
Okay, Back to Denali, and it's a pleasure to be on your program again. I just love this. Back to Denali is a romantic suspense story with mystery. It's set in and around Denali National Park in Alaska. My female protagonist, Rachel O'Rourke, is a reporter for the newspaper in Fairbanks and is assigned to write an article about the canine rangers in Denali National Park, the four-legged ones, not necessarily the two-legged ones. The article will boost her career, but Rachel dreads going back to her hometown of Healy because she has painful memories connected with her brother's paralysis. And I have a male protagonist named Liam Chadwick, who's a ranger at the park. He's working with the canine rangers. He's single and happy just as he is until his best friend, a native Inuit, famous dog sled racer, Anik Amarak, starts to meddle. Excuse me. Friction in the story comes from, not only from Rachel's boss, but mildly from Anik, but also her seemingly jealous sister and some poachers.
Okay, Sharon, why did you base the novel in Alaska? Why Alaska, of all places?
Well, Alaska is considered to be the last frontier with its untamed wilderness and dramatic landscapes. Nature still reigns there, and I wanted to capture that in a story. Plus, I wanted to learn more about the dog sled racing, the Denali canine rangers, and their work in the park. It fascinated me that dogs and mushing are still widely used there.
Okay. Now, Sharon, did you do any field work? Did you visit Denali, visit Alaska, to get a sense of it? Have you ever been there before?
No, unfortunately not. I wasn't able to visit Alaska myself. But when I started writing the book, I contacted the Denali National Park and got to know all the rangers that work there. Through emails, and they were phenomenal in helping me with the story. They seemed really excited about the idea of my creating a book featuring their fuzzy buddies.
Ooh, yeah.
And I just loved working with them. I always dedicate my books to my Lord, but in this case, I also dedicated the book to the Denali National Park and Preserve kennel rangers, both two-legged and four-legged, for their service in keeping one of Alaska's treasures for us to enjoy.
Okay.
The book is also dedicated to the indigenous people of the region.
Okay. Out of curiosity, do you have the characters like mushing through like the Kahiltna Glacier, or has Liam Chadwick ever climbed Denali proper, Mount McKinley, reached the summit of Denali?
Well, I don't mention that, but they are mushing. In the book, they are mushing. Okay. I didn't have them climbing any. They do mention. I do mention an accident that happens with some hikers, because there's always hikers up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Getting to the okay. So Rachel O'Rourke, she's a reporter. Okay. What does she look like? I mean, if you had to cast this in a movie, what actress could play Rachel O'Rourke in the movie or the TV show?
Okay, well, Rachel is a 24-year-old reporter. She's about 5'10", and silky chestnut brown hair, warm brown eyes, and I'm not really familiar with many actresses, but I can see Katrina Law, who plays an agent on NCIS. I can see her as Rachel.
Okay.
She's got a personality and much like the character I wrote.
Okay. Let's talk about Liam Chadwick. Now, describe him. What does he look like, Liam?
Okay, Liam's about 26 years old, a little older than she is. He's got dark blonde with mixed light brown hair, dark gray eyes. I love writing my heroes. And he works with the dogs every day, so he's athletic. He grew up in Minnesota on a dairy farm, and his parents moved to Alaska when he was 16. He got involved with the national park at the age of 18. So he's been with them for a long time.
Okay. I figure being in Denali, he better be physically rugged. I mean, that's not for the weak or the faint of heart in that area. So he's pretty rugged, isn't he?
Most definitely.
Yeah. Now, again, if there was a movie based on Back to Denali, what actor could play Liam Chadwick?
Again, I'm not familiar with actors, but I saw an interview with an actor named Alex Pettifer. That was recently, and I think his personality, based on the interview anyway, would be the one I'd like for Liam. He also has that appearance that I like for my character.
Okay, let's get into Anik Amarok, who, of course, who's part. He's Eskimo, correct? He's a native. That's
the term they really care for, though.
Oh, okay.
I bring that out in my book. They like to be called Inuit or Native American.
Okay, Inuit then. So he's Inuit then, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it is. So he's a musher now with the dogs.
Yes, he is an award-winning professional musher,
Ooh.
And he's won races everywhere, including Iditarod.
Aha.
The big one up there.
Yeah.
And he says he's a confirmed bachelor, but he wants to see his friend married. He's known the reporter's, Rachel's family, since he was a teen, and he's best friends with Liam. Although Liam and Rachel haven't met because of their timing circumstances.
Yeah.
But he thinks Liam and Rachel would be perfect for each other, even though they've never met.
Okay.
So he's on a quest to get those two together.
Okay, now Rachel's sister Deirdre, is she a younger sister or an older sister?
She's 2 years younger than Rachel is.
Ooh, wow. Okay. And what does she do? I mean, is she a reporter too? But what does she do for a living?
She's right in at the beginning of the book. She's looking for a job. She wants to get a job with the Denali National Park, and I made her what you men would refer to as a knockout. She's got long red hair and green eyes, model figure, but she's jealous of her sister. For some reason, I don't want to divulge what that's all about because that comes out later.
Okay. Now, let's talk about Jess Gibson. Is he, quote-unquote, the bad guy?
He's sort of the bad guy. He's Rachel's boss, the owner of the newspaper, and it comes off as like a playboy. He wants to date Rachel, and he makes excuses to get her go out with him that would be work-related or wants to just be a friend and have a talk, but she's not interested in him at all.
Mm.
He's kind of a character. I made him, like I said, a playboy. He's got black, spiky styled hair and chiseled features. He's good looking, but he sports that bad boy look.
Okay. Now, since you've been on my show several times, we've discussed there's some commonalities in your novels. Like in most of your novels, one or more of the characters has a military background. Do any of your characters in Back to Denali have any military ties?
Yeah. You mean besides being Irish?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Anik served in the Air Force for a time, but it doesn't really have any influence in the story. It was just, I just used it as a time filler for him because he had been gone for a while.
I know there's an Air Force base in Alaska called Elmendorf. Was he at Elmendorf or some other place?
Oh, I didn't mention where he was.
Okay. Sharon, would you do our audience a favor? Would you please read a brief passage from Back to Denali?
Oh, sure. This will be from chapter 24, and it's the first scene. And I'll try not to crack my voice or start coughing.
Okay.
Time crawled as the search and rescue helicopter recrossed, and doubled back over the frozen land of Denali National Park. Liam shook his head. Where were they? Deirdre and Dan had to be out here. They hadn't been seen anywhere from Healy to the park and now beyond. How could they have disappeared? What's that? Liam shouted as the SAR is the what they refer to as the search and rescue. They call it SAR. Liam shouted as the SAR aircraft flew over the remote expanse near the historic gold mining community of Kantishna. An object on the ground reflected the bright midday sun and shone like a beacon through the trees. Circle the area. I think I saw something. Most visitors to Denali rarely ventured this far into the park. As the craft made another pass over the densely wooded section, two figures came out into the clearing and waved frantically at them. One hopped, using a branch as a crutch, and held on to the other person. That has to be them. Lord, let them be okay. Boy, were they in for a lecture from more than one front. Still, if it were Deirdre and Dan, everyone would be elated to know that they were alive. How did they survive for 2 nights in the frigid temperature? A story worth hearing. Rachel may have another article to write. He smiled as the pilot found a suitable place to put the helicopter down. Before the craft touched down, sonic cracks and thunks blasted through the air. The copter pitched sharply to the right. Who was shooting? Liam held on for dear life as the craft turned again. The pilot managed to bring the chopper down to a flat area behind a ridge farther from the tree line. A member of the team said, I believe the shots came from the other side of the hill. Another crack sounded as Liam jumped out and scurried up the rise. The individuals who had flagged them down rose from the snow and scurried into the timber. In their haste, one of the hats flew off, and a shock of long, bright red hair wafted in the wind. It's Deirdre. Another ranger from the SAR team crawled up beside Liam. The ranger aimed his .30-06 Springfield and fired in the direction of the next crest from where the noise came. Liam sprang from his position and sprinted toward the woods where Deirdre and the other figure were. Who had to be where? I'm sorry, I messed up here. Toward the woods where Deirdre and the other figure who had to be Dan had gone. Right before he reached the trees, another report rang out. Liam fell.
Wow. Jeez. That's, man, I can just picture that on a screen, man. Man, that's pretty good. Very good. Okay. Sharon.
I'm not the best reader.
Wow, that's, boy, I could just picture that on a screen there. You wonder who the shooters were, and I wonder how they got not only the two missing people, but Liam too, since he's, apparently he got hit. Wow, that's pretty big. Okay. Sharon, out of curiosity, I always was wondering, how do you conjure up the names for your fictional characters? What tricks or tactics do you use to develop character names?
Well, the only thing I can tell you on that is that I pull up popular names for whatever nationality the character will be from an online list for the year my character supposedly was born. Of course, most of my characters are either Irish or they're going to be part Irish, English. One or two of my books have Finnish characters in it. And then one has an Italian character, one a Hawaiian, so I pull up baby names for those years. And I go through the list. Rachel is Irish and Liam is English. As I read through the list of names, I wait until one strikes me as fitting my character, their personality.
Right.
Then build on the character traits according to the known traits for that nationality.
Okay. I remember reading once, I think it was in a novelist, I think it was like Rita Mae Brown. She had a little trick for conjuring up names. She actually liked to go to cemeteries, especially old cemeteries, and she would just, walk amongst gravestones, and if she saw an interesting name, she would make notes, male and female names, and she would derive that as like, possibilities for naming characters and all that. Have you ever done that? Like go to a cemetery and pick out names or no?
No, I started out right away going for baby books.
Okay.
I had a couple around the house from when I had kids, and I kept them, and I just went through those. But then I started thinking, as I was making these stories up, I really should go with the nationalities. Yeah, so that's what I do.
Okay, let's talk about your novella, Christmas Full of Memories. How did that come about, Sharon?
Well, after I finished Back to Denali, I decided I wanted something fun to present as a Christmas read. I hadn't done it for a few years, so I decided I felt I had enough time. I wanted to make a short book, a novella. So, although we all know that Christmas books can be read at other times of the year too. But I wanted something with a bit of mystery to it and something that frustrated one or more of my characters to make it fun. So, of course, it had to have romance too. See, Christmas Full of Memories starts off with my female protagonist, Charity Reichman. That's a Finnish name, by the way. Puzzled by the disappearance of a family heirloom decoration. And the male protagonist, Devin McBaird, which is a Scottish name, is puzzled by a box and its contents when it keeps moving around while he's trying to find out what's in it.
Okay, that's pretty good. Sharon, please tell our listeners, where can readers find Back to Denali and Christmas Full of Memories? Where can they find this and all your books?
Well, they're all found on Amazon. You can just type in books by Sharon K. Connell, and a list of all of them will come up, or you can scroll through. Or you can type in Amazon.com/author/Sharon K. Connell.
Wow.
And if you don't order online, you can also get any of my books by going to a bookstore customer service counter and asking them to order it for you.
Okay. Sharon, what is your next book project? What genre will it be, and when can we expect its release?
It's going to be the same genre, romantic suspense with mystery. I'm working on Longing for an Answer right now. I'm about a third of the way through it. Romantic suspense with mystery. The story is set in and around a horse farm in Kentucky, south of Lexington.
Ooh.
There's a few historical Civil War references that I make in the story, just to make it interesting.
Yeah.
At least my critiquers find it really interesting.
Yeah.
And I hope it'll be interesting for the readers too. I hope to have the book published by the end of summer.
Okay. I mean, because don't laugh, I vacationed once in Lexington, and Perryville Civil War battlefield is within driving distance of Lexington. So is reference made to Perryville Civil War battlefield?
No, not that one, and I can't think of the name. I'm really bad at names. But I can't think of there is one mentioned in there, and there's a cemetery that's mentioned in there that has a little history to it.
Ooh, okay. Okay, so the end of summer then we can expect its release, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sharon, I know we're right now, the world right now is kind of crazy and all that. I remember in past interviews, I kind of asked you, I like to end the show by, would you be willing to offer our listeners some words of Christian hope? Because we're now in a type of time of trial and tribulation. Would you be willing to offer, say some words of hope that can give comfort to anyone who's listening here?
Well, I can, Lord willing, I can try. I can give you what I think about, when I hear all of this chaos going on around us. God's still in control. And what's going to happen is going to happen, regardless of, what we think about it or what we can do, but we can't really do anything about it. But our hope and our trust has to be in God. And the fact that if you are one of His children, it doesn't matter what happens. You know where you're going. When time is up here on earth, you're going to a better place.
Amen. Amen. Sharon, I'd like to wish you and your family send all the love in the world, and I wish you all the best, and I can't wait to have you on the show again where we'll discuss your next work, okay?
Well, thank you, Matthew. I really appreciate it.
May God bless and keep you always.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, for next week's show where I'll be interviewing author Nancy Collier. Thank you and good night.